Hello, Namaskar. Very good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing good. And very good evening, Anirban, Mandal, Krishna, Sonali, Kiran, PS Thumbnail. So I hope I'm audible and I'm visible as well. Everything is all okay with you guys. साईचंद ने आते ही पूछ लिया. This is what my initial thumbnail was, initial image was, that please don't ask about the PDFs, and it will not be possible for me to give you the PDFs, and this video will be available for you guys till your NEET exam this summer 2025. So very good evening everyone. Let us take on the session. Beta, how was your studies going? Ab to matlab it's just around, the exam is just around the corner. Few weeks left, few days left. है ना? तो how is the preparation going on and क्या कर रहे इसमें? Uh, Today's topic is kind of a difficult topic. तो I was थोड़ा सा skeptical कि ये कैसे करेंगे, क्या करेंगे, what is the level we should keep. So, anyways, today we are going to discuss epidemiology and biostats for you guys. Sir, where is QRP 1 in the YouTube? Everything is there in this single playlist, beta. If you want, Saichand, you can send me the request on Telegram group. Telegram group is the place where I will be able to answer all your queries. जितने students मुझे Insta पे follow कर रहे हैं, Insta is mostly for all the updates. And if you're sending direct messages to me on Instagram, it is usually not possible for me to come back on the DMs on Insta, because Insta, it's only available on phone, right? And phone पे उतना type करना, it's very difficult for me. And phone पे तो यार photos खींच लो, photos डाल दो, that is what best we can do, right? And छोटा मोटा comment डाल दो. So if you are asking your doubts and community medicine related, you're sending pics, I would strongly recommend you to follow the Telegram group. And Telegram group ka link mein, it will be available on your screen right now. And Telegram is where I will be able to answer all your doubts. Where is QRP1 Saichand? Aapko abhi playlist I will be sending to you. And any other doubts for the day? Let us take on the big session. Around 90 minutes or plus session would be there. 1.5 to 2 hour session. And let us take on the session for the day. PSM quick review program, revision program, episode 3. That is the epidemiology, medical research and biostats. So let us take on the first topic, that is epidemiology. Beta, यहाँ पे ये रहा group, and this is the Telegram group. And this group, you can just type in Telegram @Mukhmohit01, and you should be able to find out the group thing, the discussions that we are doing. So thumbnail is nice, है ना? Thumbnail is nice. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the new thumbnail. Yeah, Ghibli style images. That is what was like. It was trending some time ago. तब बनाया था. So, good evening everyone. Let us take on the first topic. And there we go. The first MCQ for the day. Dekho, what is the best answer you would like to mark? In a town of 5,000 individuals was chosen to find the prevalence of obesity using BMI as marker and dietary factors as amount of monthly cooking oil, sugar, junk food and dine out events. This type of studies. क्या बोलना चाहते हो? 5,000 people were chosen. क्रॉस सेक्शनल है, कोहॉर्ट है, केस कंट्रोल है या इकोलॉजिकल है? अबाउट डिफरेंट फैक्टर्स टू बी असेस्ड. वाओ, वेरी नाइस. अनिर्बान सेज ए, वरुण ए. मोस्टली सब लोग ए बोल रहे हैं. वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. टाइनी मिमी इन द बिग वर्ल्ड. नाइस नेम. Yeah, It is correct answer, beta. This is option A. Because what we are trying to do over here, हम इधर करना क्या चाह रहे हैं? What are we trying to achieve? We are trying to achieve that in a town. बिल्कुल ठीक है, आप सबके answers very nice. I'm proud of you guys. First question done rightly. In a town, a sample of 5,000 individuals chosen to find the prevalence. That is the keyword over here. That is the keyword over here, prevalence of obesity. So they wanted to find the prevalence of obesity using BMI as marker and to assess the dietary factors as well, as amount of monthly cooking oil, how many people are using, sugar intake, junk food, how many times they go for dine out, what type of study is this? Absolutely correct. So they are going to the area and they are going to do a survey in the 5,000 people, and they are going to find out that how many people are obese. Let us say these many people come out to be obese. Let us say these many people are obesity, and how many people will have junk food, how many people will have dine out events and things like this. Correct answer is cross sectional study. A few points for you to remember. There are 4 important study designs which come in your exam. There are 4 important study designs: cross-section study, case control study, cohort study, ecological study. What are the names? These have been asked as 5-star MCQ. This table is a 5-star table. Every year you're going to get 1 or 2 questions from this table alone. So what is cross-section study? It is a transfer study. It starts with the total population or the sample of the population. We find out the prevalence. In a case control study, it is retrospective. That is, it goes from effect to cause or cause to effect. It goes from effect to cause. It goes back in time, and we start with the disease and non-disease. In a cohort study, it is prospective. We start with exposed, non-exposed. It will help us calculate the incidence, and it is from cause to effect. It is a forward-looking study. It is also known as a longitudinal study. It is also called as a longitudinal study. Next is ecological study. Ecological study also called as correlational study. And it is, please highlight and remember these words. It is based on the total population. That is, the unit is the total population. Unit of the study is total population. It is based on the data which is obtained from third party data sources. That is, directly you don't find out. In this MCQ, answer could have been the ecological study as well, but you are directly asking about the dietary factors. If in case you were doing a study where you were asking the restaurants, how many people are attending the restaurants, or how many restaurants are open in a particular city, or how much sugar import is there in that particular town. That type of data where you talk about the import export, you talk about the businesses, restaurant businesses, you talk about how much in general cooking oil was sold in the town. This type of data is a third party data. When you talk about the third party data, then your answer has to be an ecological study, a correlational study. It helps us to find the correlation between variables. I think pretty simple, direct question, direct answer. Everybody should know this. So very nice first question. I'm pretty happy that you guys passed. Let us take on the next MCQ. Match the following. So list 1 is there and list 2 is there. Can you match the following? It's again a very important. It is a 10-star MCQ, frequently asked in your exam. Don't get this question wrong. There are 5 options in the list 1 and 5 in the list 2. Which is the correct answer? Which one do you think is the correct answer? So match the following. I know it'll take some time, but that's okay. You can take your own time. So what do you think is the correct answer? Natural course of disease goes with what? Prevalence of disease, multiple risk factors, hypothesis confirmation, and rare expensive investigation. So very nice. Muskan was the first one. Muskan Juneja, option B. Lalita says B. Saichand is B. Pankaj B. Varun B. Devar Sakshi is B. Very nice. Ayan Mundal B. Everybody saying going with B. Everybody is going with option B. Let us try to find out whether this option B is correct or not. Let us see if this option is correct or not. Very nice. I'm pretty happy that everybody is unanimously answering. Epidemiology, I think, is a cakewalk. I thought it might be difficult and tricky for me to teach you online about the epidemiology because there's just a revision class, right? So, study of choice. What do you think is the study of choice, beta? This is a new way, and I have just made this 10 points, and 10 points are giving you every like summary of the total points in epidemiology. So try to answer this in your chat box. What do you think is the answer for 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5? So what is 1? Prevalence of disease. What is 1? What is 1? 1 is cross-sectional study. Correct answer. 1 is cross-sectional study. What is incidence? Incidence of study. Incidence of the disease. Incidence of disease is cohort study. Correct answer. Thank you so much for answering. What is this rare disease? Correct answer. What is a rare disease? Study of choice for rare disease. Absolutely correct, Soumya. It is case control. Case control study. Some of the guys, Sakshi and Debarun, you guys answered nested case control. It is unfortunately not nested case control. It is simple case control study. It is not nested case control. Rare risk factors if they ask you. Fourth, if they ask you rare risk factors. See, rare disease is simple case control because if the disease is rare, you directly take people with disease and people who are without that disease, and then you ask them for the risk factor. So that is about the rare disease. Next is about the rare risk factors. Correct answer, everybody answering correctly now. It is a cohort study. What about the rare investigations? 5 number. What about the rare investigation? Rare investigations. Rare investigation. What is the study of choice? Now your answer, absolutely correct. Ayaniva Roy. Ayaniva Roy. So it is correct answer. It is a nested case control. It is a nested case control study. Correct answer, it is a nested case control study. Multiple outcomes can be assessed in. What do you think multiple outcomes can be assessed in? What do you think about this? Multiple outcomes can be assessed in. Multiple outcomes. You take people with risk factor, you take people who are smokers, and then you find out whether they are getting COPD or bronchial asthma or cancers, and you can assess different things. So you start with people who are with exposure. Correct answer, it is a cohort study. Multiple risk factors can be assessed in. 7 answer, it is a case control study. Natural course of disease, that is what it was there in the MCQ as well. Natural course of disease. 7th answer, natural course of disease. That is assessed in. Correct answer, it is assessed in a cohort study. Best study to establish causal association. What do you think? Best study to establish causal association. What is the best study to establish causal association? The best study to establish causal association, when they ask you the best study beta in hierarchy of causality, it is meta-analysis or evidence-based medicine, or technically evidence-based medicine, or technically the best answer would be meta-analysis. Correct answer, meta-analysis. I think you all are prepared with epidemiology, guys. Zero error till now. Everybody going pretty strong in epidemiology. Kamal hai. So correlation between variables. Correlation between variables. Last. Correlation between variables. It is ecological study. Very nice. I'm so proud of you. That makes my life very easy. That makes my life very easy. So, very nice. Absolutely correct, but I love you guys. Good, good. So, what is option A? Let's come back. Now it is pretty easy answer. What is option 1? Option 1, natural course of disease. Natural course of disease goes with the cohort study. So, 1 goes with D. Prevalence of disease goes with A, so 2 goes with A. Multiple risk factors can be assessed in which study? Where you start with disease and you ask them about the different risk factors. Option B. 3 goes with B. And hypothesis confirmation. Please note, hypothesis confirmation happens like 3 important points over here. That hypothesis formulation, it happens at what level? Then is hypothesis testing happens at what level? Then is hypothesis validation or confirmation happens at what level? So what is the best answer? Hypothesis formulation is at what level, beta? Descriptive studies. Hypothesis testing is at what level? Analytical studies. And hypothesis validation happens at what level? It happens at experimental designs or evidence-based medicine. Evidence-based medicine. So that is about the hypothesis. I hope you can remember this. Hypothesis formulation, testing, validation, confirmation. Hypothesis testing, formulation, validation, confirmation, frequently asked in your exam. So absolutely correct. Hypothesis formulation will happen at meta-analysis. Rare and expensive. So 4th is E and 5th is rare expensive investigation, that is option C. So that is what is the best answer. DABEC. DABEC. Option B is the correct answer to be marked in your exam. So absolutely correct. Let us go to the next MCQ. Difference between incidence exposed and non-exposed is called as. Difference between incidence exposed and non-exposed is given as. What do you think is the best answer? The difference between exposed and non-exposed is called as C, B, B, A, B. कहीं तो फंसे चलो तुम लोग, कहीं तो रोका तुम लोगों को. थोड़े तो डिफरेंट आंसर्स आए, अदरवाइज इट वाज लाइक स्ट्रेट छक्के छक्के छक्के, हर बॉल पे चौका, हर बॉल पे चक्का. चलो गुड. नाउ स्टूडेंट्स स्टार्ट गेटिंग कंफ्यूज्ड, ए है या बी है. कुछ ने सी भी बोला था. व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज द बेस्ट आंसर? बी, मोस्टली गोइंग विद बी. ओके, चलो. वेरी नाइस. बेटा, there are three things that you need to know. एक, सूरज कुमार ने डी भी डाल दिया रिस्क रेशो. सौम्या इज लाइक ए पक्का ए है. So beta, very nice. You need to know that what is incidence exposed and incidence in the non-exposed. Okay, let us say that there is, you already must be knowing, इतना तुम लोग epidemiology जानते हो, so you must be knowing that this is your table. And let us say there are people with disease and people without disease, and let us say the exposure is positive or non-exposed, negative. Okay, let us just call them as A, B, C and D. Okay, there are some people who are diseased. They might be with the exposure, without exposure. There are people who are healthy. They might also be with the exposure or without the exposure. Am I correct on this? This is a simple table which is a 2 by 2 table. So when we say that incidence in the exposed group, what is the exposed group, beta? This one is the exposed group. This is the exposed group, right? So incidence in the exposed group, that is A, that is this people who are diseased, right? A divided by A plus B, because this total is the exposed group. And what is the incidence in the non-exposed group? Non-exposed group, bache, this is the non-exposed group. Which one is the non-exposed? This C and D, right? So what is the incidence in the non-exposed? That is number of people who are C, that is the disease, right? Out of the non-exposed. So C over C plus D. Now if I do incidence in exposed minus incidence in non-exposed, this difference is called as the risk difference. It is also known as attributable risk. It is also called as attributable risk. Okay. Now you might be getting confused that, sir, in your classes, in your lectures, you told that attributable risk is formula something else. Please note that generally speaking, we technically say that this is attributable risk, but generally speaking, what is attributable risk proportion? Attributable risk proportion is given by the formula incidence in the exposed group minus incidence in the non-exposed divided by incidence in the exposed. So when they ask you about proportion, then your answer will become like this. Otherwise, what is attributable risk? Attributable risk is just given by the formula incidence exposed minus incidence in the non-exposed. Now you guys were getting confused with something else. What do you mean by risk ratio? Risk ratio, or the also known as relative risk. Relative risk. It is given by the formula incidence exposed divided by incidence non-exposed. It is not the difference between them. It is a ratio of the risk. Third is, some students also got confused that what do you mean by odds ratio? Odds ratio is a product of the odds in exposed divided by odds in non-exposed, that is A into D, that is the true cells, A cross product. So A into D divided by B into C. A into D divided by B into C. A into D divided by B into C. It is a cross product ratio. It is a cross product ratio, that is AD by BC. Okay. So attributable risk, risk ratio and odds ratio, they are different things. If nothing is mentioned, then attributable risk, what is the formula? Incidence exposed minus non-exposed over incidence exposed. If they ask you what is the risk difference, it is also called as attributable risk. Okay. But generally we take this as the formula for attributable risk only. But technically, attributable risk means a risk difference, proportion means a proportion. Okay. So attributable risk, what is the correct answer over here? It is option A. Soumya, you were absolutely correct. It is A, and A. So absolutely correct, beta. The difference between the incidence exposed and non-exposed, that is called as attributable risk. This is the ratio between them. Odds ratio is a cross product ratio and risk ratio is equal to the relative risk. Okay. Chalo, let us go to the next point. One more point over here. I would like to tell you that also remember that risk ratio, if the odds ratio is equal to 1 or the risk ratio is equal to 1, it means that there is no association between the factors. If the odds ratio is more than 1, that means a positive association or the factor is a risk factor. If the odds ratio is less than 1, that means it is a negative association or the factor you are seeing is a protective factor. And same is true for risk ratios and same is true for risk ratios less than 1 or more than 1. I hope everybody knows this, right? So Tajesh, clean bold nahi tha. It was not clean bold. It was just a point I wanted to make over here that examiner यहाँ पे भी खेल सकता है आपके साथ. आपकी नॉलेज आपके पास बिल्कुल अच्छी है and उसको बरकरार रखिए. I am just adding to your knowledge. That's the only thing I'm doing. I'm not trying to give new things over here. I'm just trying to help you channelize your knowledge so that you know कि examiner कहाँ where all things that examiner can play with you. That's the only thing. So very nice. थोड़ा लंबा क्वेश्चन है, टेक अ ब्रेक एंड आराम से करो. इजी क्वेश्चन है, थोड़ा बड़ा हो गया. आई वॉज ट्राइंग टू मेक दिस क्वेश्चन एंड वो लिखते जा रहा था. इट जस्ट बिकेम लॉन्ग. देन आई सेड चलने दे, लेट्स सी इफ द किड्स कैन डू इट. करके देखो बेटा, है कुछ नहीं है, बहुत ईजी. बेकार पट्टू एमसीक्यू है, यू कैन से. बेकार एमसीक्यू, टुच्च एमसीक्यू है. करके देखो, जस्ट ट्राई स्टडिंग इट. तब तक आई टेक माई कॉफ़ी ब्रेक, राइट. बड़ा एमसीक्यू का ये भी फायदा होता है, बच्चे पढ़ रहे होते हैं, बैठे हम लोग कॉफ़ी पी लो. I should do more big MCQs, है ना. मैं कॉफ़ी पीता रहूँगा. It's pretty easy MCQ if you know the concept. अगर तुम्हें इतना पता है what is attributable risk, I think this question is pretty easy. And we have got the answers. Soumya says B, Maria is B, Soumya is B, Muskan is B. Most of you are going with B. I told you it's a very tucha MCQ, easy type of MCQ. Very nice, correct answer is B only, I think so. I'll read the question statement now. A public health team conducts a study to evaluate hand hygiene practices among healthcare workers in a hospital. Observers are stationed in the ward to monitor how the people are washing their hands. So there was an observer and he or she was monitoring, right? So during the observation period, hand hygiene was recorded as 80-85, whereas the hand hygiene assessed later using indirect measures as soap, sanitizers, it drops to 45. So people change their behavior while they are being observed. The change in behavior while they are being observed is called as correct answer, Hawthorne bias. Absolutely correct answer. This is change in behavior while they are being observed. This is called as Hawthorne bias. So absolutely correct. I'm so proud of you guys. Very nice. You're making my life, at least my teaching is becoming difficult because I don't know what to ask. But my life is becoming simple कि यार बच्चों को आता है. I'm tension free. Attention bias नहीं, मेरे को attention bias नहीं है. So differential ability to recall between cases and controls. What do you think is this bias? Differential ability to recall between cases and controls. What is this bias? This bias is called as ability to recall. It is called as a recall bias. No brainer. Differential hospital admission rates. Differential hospital admission rates. What is this? Differential hospital admission rates. It is called as a special name, beta. रट लो इसको. Bergsonian bias. Bergsonian bias. It is found in hospital-based case control study. It is found in a hospital-based case control studies, Bergsonian biases. Change in behavior while under observation. Change in behavior while under observation. This is what we have already done. It is a Hawthorne bias. And loss to follow up. Loss to follow up. It is called as loss to follow up. It is called as attrition bias, not attention. Attrition bias. It is called as attrition bias. बस यही दो चार biases याद कर लो. That's all. Very nice. So absolutely correct answer. It is Hawthorne bias. A systematic error is in determination of association between exposure and outcome is known as. You can just omit. A systematic error in determination of association between the exposure and outcome is called as. What do you think is the correct answer? A systematic error in determination of association between exposure and outcome is called as chance, probability, randomization bias. Okay. Some students say B, some say C. Okay. इतना बड़ा बड़ा तुम लोग बात किए और यहाँ पे आके रुके तुम लोग इस क्वेश्चन पे, फैक्चुअल एमसीक्यू पे. रट्टा तोता इफेक्ट है ना. दिस इज व्हाट इज अ रट्टू तोता इफेक्ट. रट लिया, रट्टा तोता इफेक्ट है ना. एवरीबडी सेइंग बी और सी, प्रोबेबिलिटी या रैंडमाइजेशन. So chance, Jojo says chance. Systematic error is bias. That's what, beta. What is errors? Errors means mistake, है ना? Error means mistake. Error can be of two types. We can have a random error, or we can have a systematic error. We can have random errors, or we can have a systematic errors. The random errors, these are just random, galti se galti, error by mistake. So error just by mistake. This random error, these are what are the sampling errors. These are what are the sampling errors. And what is systematic error? Systematic error is what you call as bias. So systematic error is what we call as bias. So direct answer है यार, it is a systematic error in determination of association between exposure and outcome. How can you say it is chance? It doesn't make sense. Probability तो chance को ही कहते हैं probability. So probability भी नहीं है. What is randomization? Randomization is a known and equal chance. Randomization क्या है? It is known chance and equal chance. It removes what bias? It removes a selection bias. It removes the selection bias, so it is not the answer. What is a systematic error? Systematic error तो direct answer होना चाहिए. It is bias. बस मतलब खुदा पहाड़ निकली चुई है, यहाँ पे आके गिरे तुम लोग. ये तो वही बात हुई. So it is systematic error. Okay? So ये छोटी छोटी गलतियाँ क्यों कर रहे हो? You have answered. You have already answered such big, huge MCQs. अनिरुद्ध, you were there in the class, है ना? शिकारी आएगा, जाल बिछाएगा, तुम गिरना मत. ये वही था. If you had attended the class, you know the answer. And बिल्कुल ठीक है. अनिरुद्ध, you were there in the class somewhere. ऑफलाइन आपने अटेंड करी है ना? तोते की कहानी, ये वही साहब है. तोते की कहानी मतलब इस टुच्चे सवाल पे आके पब्लिक गिर गई. इतना तुम लोग सही आंसर किए. Anyways, let's go to the next MCQ. Which of the following is not a correct match for the bias? What do you think? Which of the following is not a correct match for the bias? Not a correct match. Ecological study, fallacy. Cohort study is attrition bias. Cross-sectional study is Hawthorne effects. Case control study is misclassification. Hawthorne is found in a cohort study. Absolutely correct. Hawthorne is found in a cohort study. कहाँ से पढ़े हुए हो यार तुम लोग? Very nice, very nice. Everybody answering correctly. So cross-section study, Hawthorne effect. Very nice. Again, same thing. Yeah, absolutely. Hawthorne effects is cohort study. The purpose of double-blind study is to decrease what? The purpose of double-blind study is to decrease what? Observer bias and sampling variation, subject bias and sampling variation, observer and subject bias and analyzer effects. Amazing, amazing, very nice. So purpose of double-blind study is to decrease what? It is to decrease the observer and the subject bias. It is to decrease the observer and the subject bias. Correct answer, very good. Please note that how do we treat bias? How do we treat bias? Bias is treated by, how do we treat bias? Bias is treated by blinding. Blinding can be three types: single blind, double blind, triple blind. Single blind is where the subject is blind. Double blind where the doctor plus the subject, they both are blind. And triple blind is where the doctor plus the subject plus analyzer or the statistician, they all are blind. Statistician, all are blind. This is what we call as blinding. Bias can also be treated by randomization. But if you get a single best answer, it is always blinding. The single best answer is always blinding. Right? Next is, we can also treat confounders. Confounders can be of two types. Confounders can be of two types. Confounders could be known confounders or unknown confounders. Known confounders can be treated by matching. Unknown confounders can be treated by RSSR. Unknown confounders can be treated by RSSR. Randomization, stratification, standardization, and regression. So in case they also ask you known confounders, matching is not there in the option, then you can go with another one, that is you can also treat it by randomization. But the single best answer would always be matching for known confounders. For unknown confounders, we can treat it by randomization, standardization, stratification, and regression, any of the following. Okay, so please note that this is how we treat confounders and this is how we treat bias. Bias is treated by best answer blinding. Confounders is known confounder matching. Unknown confounder by any of the following, RSSR, anything can do. Let us go to the, so absolutely correct beta, this is what we treat as blinding. Okay. Which of the following statement is not correct? Which of the following statement is not correct? अब तो मुझे क्वेश्चन डालते ही डर लगता है ना? सारे तो आते हैं तुम लोगों को. Which of the following statement is not correct? R.S. Singh, Neelu, D, everybody D. सही आंसर, clapping. आप लोगों के लिए hats off है. आज मजा आ रहा है ना, मतलब एक पढ़े लिखे बच्चे बैठे हैं यहाँ पे, वो हवादार बातें नहीं हो रही. Very nice, very nice. Which of the following statement is not correct, beta? Prevalence is found in cross-section study. This is true. Odds ratio is in case control study. Odds ratio is found in case control study. This is also true. Hawthorne bias is in cohort. We have done this multiple times. True. Cause to effect is found in cohort study. यहाँ पे effect to cause होना था. So absolutely correct. This is option D is the best answer. Cause to effect is found in cohort study. Let us go to the next MCQ. अब बताओ क्या है आंसर. मैं थोड़ी देर के लिए गायब हो जाता हूँ so that you can read the options. I'm just skipping out myself from the lecture just for you guys to see. Audio will still be available. क्या बोलते हो? Which of the following statement is true regarding the use of indirect standardization? Indirect standardization uses age-specific rates from the study population to calculate expected deaths in the standard population. Indirect standardization is appropriate when age-specific rates are available for the study population. Standardized mortality ratio is calculated as observed deaths over expected deaths. Crude death rate is always a better measure of SMR. So what do you think is the correct answer? Which of the following is true? You have to mark the true answer. Which of the following is true? So very nice. I'm still so proud of you guys. Standardization भी topic आपने कर लिया and अच्छे से किया है. Standardization, please note, all those who did not know, very nice. All C is the correct answer. C is the correct answer. So absolutely correct बेटा, standardization. चलो कोई बात नहीं, तुम लोग मेरे मजे ले रहे हो, तुम लोग सबके आंसर दे रहे हो, तो कोई बात नहीं, मैं बायोस्टैट्स में देखूंगा. बायोस्टैट्स में नए क्वेश्चंस बनाए हैं. लेट अस सी, आई एम ट्राइंग टू चैलेंज यू कि देखते हैं कितने लोग आंसर कर पाते हैं. So what is standardization? Standardization is of two types. We can have a direct standardization or we can do indirect standardization. Beta, all those who did not know the answers, direct standardization, when will you do? It is basically standardization is done to compare. It is done to compare I'll take a new page. Why do we do standardization? Standardization. It is done to compare populations with different age distributions. And because they have different age distribution, therefore we need to standardize the population. Now the standardization is of two types: direct standardization, indirect standardization. Direct standardization is done when the age specific rates are known. And when will you do indirect standardization? When the age specific rates are not available. So if they are not available, we will do indirect standardization. If they are available, we will do a direct standardization. That's all that it means. So if you get this question, if you get this point, which of the following statement is true? You have to find the true one. Indirect standardization uses the age specific. No, it does not use the age specific rates because they are not available. Indirect standardization is appropriate when the age specific rates are available. No, when they are not available, this is also false. The standardized mortality ratio is calculated as observed deaths over expected deaths. This is the true answer. And crude death rate is a better measure. No, it is not a better measure. It is a lower measure than the standardized mortality ratios. This is also false. So which is the correct answer? The standardized mortality ratio is called as this. And where do you calculate the standardized mortality ratio? In indirect standardization. In indirect standardization, we calculate the standardized mortality ratios. We calculate the standardized mortality ratios. Let us take on the next MCQ. ये भी easy MCQ है, आप बोलोगे तुम लोग. So which of the following statement is not correct? Which of the following statement is not correct? What do you think and what do you want to answer? Rapid rise, rapid fall. Secondary waves are found in single exposure point source. Animal to human exposure transmission may be seen in propagated. Case show higher endemicity. Which of the following statement is correct? Please note, this question is wrongly built. गलत हो गया, एक क्वेश्चन मेरा गलत हो गया. Which of the following statement is correct? वरुण कहता वही तो जैसा मर्जी क्वेश्चन आए अपन ने तो आंसर करना था, अपन ने आंसर किया. अब बताओ बेटा, क्वेश्चन थोड़ा चेंज हो गया. सॉरी दैट वाज माय मिस्टेक. सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज द करेक्ट आंसर? यू हैव टू फाइंड द करेक्ट वन. व्हिच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट? इजी क्वेश्चन है. वी टॉक अबाउट एपिडेमिक्स बेटा. I think everybody is answering correctly now. So we have different types of epidemics, bache. You already know that the epidemic types, it can be single source. It can be from a single source or multiple sources. Single source could be of two types: single exposure or multiple exposure. The single exposure, that is one exposure from one source, this is also known as a point epidemic. It is also called as a point epidemic. In the point epidemic, there is a rapid rise and rapid fall, and all cases occur within one incubation period. This is a 10-star MCQ point frequently asked in your exam. Okay. On the other hand, if you talk about the multiple exposures but from a single source but multiple exposures. In single source, multiple exposure, this is also known as a continuous epidemic, because there is a continuous exposure from a single source and there are secondary waves. There is a rapid rise with persistent high number of cases. On the other hand, if you look at the propagated epidemics, there is a person to person transmission. How? It can be person to animal or animal to person, or it could also be from person to person transmission, and there is a gradual decline in the number of cases. If you look at these epidemic curves, which one do you think is A? A belongs to which type of epidemic? Single source, single exposure, or single source, multiple exposure, or propagated? What is A? What do you think is A curve for? A curve will be for what? Point epidemic, continuous epidemic, or propagated? It is for single exposure point source. Absolutely correct. It is a point epidemic. It is a point epidemic, single source, single exposure. Absolutely correct. What is option B? Curve B showing. Curve B. These are what are the secondary waves, beta. These are what are the secondary waves. You can see these waves. These are the secondary waves. This is a continuous type of epidemic, or the multiple exposures. Multiple exposure from a single source. And the last one, that is the C1. You see that there is increasing number of cases. This is a propagated epidemic. It is a propagated type of epidemic. Propagated epidemic, it will come down, but it will come down very, very slowly on a gradual time scale. So these are different types of epidemic. Rapid rise and rapid fall in propagated. No, there is a rapid rise, but there is no rapid fall. There is a gradual fall. There is a gradual fall. Gradual fall. So this is false. Secondary waves are found in single exposure. Point source. No, it is not found in single exposure. It is found in multiple exposure. This is also false. Animal to human transmission may be seen in propagated. This is true. Cases show high endemicity in point epidemics. No, they show high endemicity in continuous epidemics. Right? So this is also false. So option C is the correct one for you guys to mark. Option C is the best answer. Option C is the best answer. Now I think let us go on to the next topic, that is biostats, and let's see how much you guys can do. Let us see. अब देखते हैं तुम में कितना जोर है ना? अब देखते हैं कितना तुम लोग उछल रहे थे. चलो भाई आओ. Let us see क्या बोलते हो तुम लोग. पहला सवाल, वेरिएंस इज गिवन बाय. ये बने मैंने बायोस्टैट्स मैंने बनाया, थोड़ा हाई लेवल है. डोंट गेट डिप्रेस्ड बेटा, डोंट गेट डिप्रेस्ड बाय दीज क्वेश्चंस. वेरिएंस is given by variance is given by. Thoda high level questions that don't get depressed by these. If you know them, very nice. If you don't know, that's okay. So I'm not here to judge you, and nobody is here to judge anyone. बेटा आराम से बिंदास होके मार्क करना है. कुछ भी हो ना, मैं तुम्हारे साथ खड़ा हूँ. कुछ भी दिक्कत आए, you ask me on Telegram, you ask me wherever you want, you ask me in this chat box, I'll be there to help you guys. कुछ भी हो जाए. So don't worry about कि ये आता है नहीं है आता, somebody is judging me. बिल्कुल ठीक है वरुण, एब्सोल्युटली सीखने के लिए तो आए हैं. मैं भी सीखने के लिए आया हूँ. मैं भी आपसे करके सीखता हूँ. सो मोस्ट ऑफ यू आर गिविंग A, B, D. कोई A कह रहा है, कोई B कह रहा है, कोई D कह रहा है. So variance, please note, what is standard deviation? What is standard deviation? Standard deviation तो देखो हर एक को पता होता है. What is standard deviation? Standard deviation is given by root of mean of squared deviation. ये तो पता था ना. This is the most basic thing. रटा होना चाहिए. What is standard deviation? It is square root of स्क्वायर रूट. स्क्वायर रूट कैसे डालते हो? स्क्वायर रूट ऐसे ही डलेगा. स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ मीन. मीन कैसे लिखते हो? मीन इज समेशन डिवाइडेड बाय सैंपल साइज. मीन इज दिस समेशन डिवाइडेड बाय सैंपल साइज. स्क्वायर्ड डेविएशन, हाउ डू यू राइट स्क्वायर्ड डेविएशन बेटा? एक्स माइनस एक्स बार को स्क्वायर कर दो. दिस इज व्हाट इज स्क्वायर्ड डेविएशन. सो दिस इज द फॉर्मूला फॉर स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. ये तो आपको आना ही चाहिए. 10 स्टार MCQ. बस ये रटा होना चाहिए. व्हाट इज स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन? इट इज रूट मीन स्क्वायर डेविएशन, RMSD. अगर आपको, इफ़ यू ऑल गाइज नो स्टैंडर्ड डिवीजन, देन यू शुड ऑल्सो नो व्हाट इज वेरिएंस. वेरिएंस इज नथिंग बट एस डी को स्क्वेयर कर दो. तो ऑब्वियसली ये स्क्वेयर रूट समेशन ओवर एन एक्स माइनस एक्स बार होल स्क्वेयर, अगर ये जो फॉर्मूला है, सो इसमें से एस डी को स्क्वेयर कर दोगे तो ये चीज उड़ गया ना, स्क्वेयर रूट हट गया. So this is what is variance. That is summation over n x minus x bar whole square. So what is the correct answer? It is summation by n x minus x bar whole square. That is the correct answer. This is the formula for standard deviation actually. है ना? SD over square root n. This is the formula for standard error for mean. इसको लिख लो, take a copy in Biostats बेटा. It will be helpful. Someone somewhere might ask you. So standard error for mean is given by SD over square root n, and SD by mean it is given by variation. It is called as coefficient of variation. Coefficient of variation. Option D. Coefficient of variation and variance is same or different? It is different बेटा. Coefficient of variation variation होता है, variance variance होता है, variance coefficient of variation नहीं होता. This is variance and this is coefficient of variation. So इसको ध्यान से मार्क करना. वेरिएशन अलग बात है, वेरिएंस अलग बात है. So what is the correct answer? Learning number 1, वेरिएंस का फॉर्मूला इट इज नथिंग बट एस डी का स्क्वायर रूट हटा दो, and that is what we call as variance. Okay, let's go to the next one. Which of the following is an ordinal scale? Easy question. Which of the following is an ordinal scale? Hypertensive, non-hypertensive, blood group in individuals, blood group A, blood group B, type of disease in medical OPD, and stage of cancer in cancer patients. क्या बोलना चाहते हो? Which of the following is ordinal scale? Ordinal scale वो होता है जहाँ पे stages हो जाए, order हो जाए. So absolutely correct beta. If there is a nominal scale, there is no sequence will be there. Example के तौर पे there is names. Names मतलब type of disease, blood group, all are nominal type of data. Ordinal मतलब there is an inherent sequence, that is the stage of disease, grade of disease, severity scale, mild, moderate, severe, that is called as ordinal scale. Interval, only interval is important. There is no start point and no absolute zero. No absolute zero, there is only one example, that is degree Celsius or degree Fahrenheit. And ratio scale, there is an absolute zero or start point. Anything which is a quantitative data जैसे कि हाइट हो गया, वेट हो गया, बिलीरुबिन लेवल्स हो गए, AST levels, T3 levels, T4 levels, anything in the blood, any blood test that we do, all are ratio scales. Kelvin scale, all are ratio scales. Please note, interval scale is degree Celsius or degree Fahrenheit. These are the different scales of data. So if you know which of the following is ordinal data beta, hypertensive, non-hypertensive, ये क्या हुआ? This is a nominal data. Blood group in the individual, this is also nominal data. Type of disease, this is also nominal data. Stage of cancer, this is ordinal data. So what is the best answer you would like to mark? The stage of disease is the best answer you would like to mark in this question. Coming to the next MCQ, a clinical trial for a new drug for glaucoma patient presents the results showing the effect of the drug with a p-value of 0.3. This is interpreted as. What do you want to say? A clinical trial for a new drug for glaucoma presents the results showing the effect of the drug with a p-value of 0.3. This is interpreted as. अच्छा जी, ये आता था आपको? ऑप्शन सी. वाह, कमाल होगी, कमाल ही होगी है. एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट मेरे बच्चों. वाह जी वाह, वाह वाह. तालियों के साथ आप सबका अभिनंदन. Null hypothesis is accepted. Absolutely correct. Very nice. Very nice. So I'm so happy for the guys who answered C as the correct answer. Absolutely correct, beta. Very nice. The p value or the probability value, p value or the probability value, it can be less than 0.05 or it could be more than 0.05. If it is less, beta, अगर ये कम है, that means the probability of making an error is less. Okay, अगर probability of making an error is less, that means what? This p value, if it is less than 0.05, it is also known as a significant p value. That means the effect is actually found. The effect is found. And what do? The null hypothesis is rejected. What do you mean by null hypothesis? Null hypothesis means that there is no effect. So null hypothesis will be rejected. Rejected null hypothesis, effect is found. It is called as significant p-value. Beta, on the opposite side, if the p-value is more than 0.05, it is known as a non-significant p-value. क्यों बोलते हैं non-significant? Because the probability is more than 0.05. That means there is a chance कि आपने गलती ना की. That means we say that no effect is found and the null hypothesis is accepted. Null hypothesis accepted का क्या मतलब होता है? That means null hypothesis क्या बोलता है? What is null hypothesis? It states that there is no effect. So it is accepted that the research also says that there is no effect. So in this question, beta, the p-value comes out to be 0.3. The p-value comes out to be 0.3. What is 0.3? 0.3 is obviously more than 0.05. So null hypothesis will be accepted. Null hypothesis will be accepted. Shows significant variation? No, it is false. It is non-significant variation. The effect of drug is found? No, it is not found. It is not found. The alternate hypothesis is accepted? No, the alternate hypothesis is rejected if the p-value is more than 0.05. So which is the best answer? Option C is the correct answer. Identify the correct statement from the image over here. क्या बोलते हो? क्या बोलते हो? What do you think is the correct answer? Both curves have same median, different mode. Both curves have same mode, different median. Both curves have different median and mode but same mean. Both curves have same mean, median, mode. Acha, very nice. So you know this also. Very good, beta. Very nice. Absolutely correct. So what is this curve that you're seeing over here? I'll just take this curve and copy it and paste it on a new page. So what do you think? What do you see over here? In this curve, beta, what we see is this is the peak. So peak means the most frequently occurring value. This is the most frequently occurring value. So what is the most frequently occurring value? It is called as the mode. In this curve, you can see that there are two types of most frequently occurring value. So there are two modes over here. There are two modes over here. So it is a bimodal presentation, whereas the red color curve, it is a unimodal type of presentation. There is only one mode. So obviously it just means that in these two things, the center point may be around same. The center point is same. Center point means the median. So generally speaking, what our eyes grossly can say over here is that the median is same, but the mode is different. This is the correct answer. They cannot have the same mode, it is wrong answer. Both curves have different median and different mode to theek hai, but same mean. No, we cannot comment on the mean just by looking at this graph. You cannot comment on the mean. Mean might be changed with the different extreme variables. Both curves have same mean, median, mode. This is also wrong answer. So what is the best answer you would like to mark? Both curves have the same median. They look to have the same median but different mode. Option A is the best answer. Sir, second curve will have two modes. Yes, beta, in this there are two modes. That is what we say bimodal presentation. Today's PSM will complete in this session. Nahi beta RDC, there is one more topic I have. In fact, two more topics. Let's see. देखते हैं अभी. थोड़ा बचेगा. Health indicators वाला topic है. PQLI, HDI, nutrition, environment, all the miscellaneous topics are still pending. Test of significance used to compare birth weight of 100 babies born to females who consumed supervised high protein diet and to females who consumed balanced diet with more micronutrients. So what is the test of significance? What is the test of significance to compare birth weights of babies in two different groups? अच्छा जी, सारे A बोल रहे हैं. Everybody going with option A. Very good. 99 Sushil is D, option D. Kostab is B. Some say D, some say A, some say B. Okay. So test of significance बताना है बेटा. Test of significance to compare birth weights of 100 babies born to females who consumed. So whenever they ask you about test of significance, बच्चे, whenever they ask you test of significance, you have to see two things. आपको दो चीजें देखनी है. How many groups are involved, and then you have to see what type of data are we calculating, what type of data are we seeing. Okay, what type of data. So if they ask you about the test of significance, beta, test of significance, the data can be a quantitative data or it could be a qualitative data. The data type could be a quantitative data or a qualitative data. If there is one group, the quantitative data, then you answer as paired t-test. If there are two groups, you answer unpaired t-test, also called as independent sample t-test. Independent sample t-test. If there are three or more groups, then we do ANOVA, analysis of variance, ANOVA test. In case of qualitative data, it is always a chi-square test. It is always a chi-square test. In case they ask you about one group qualitative, then you can answer specific answer. It is Mac-Niemer test. But generally, they will ask you chi-square test. If they ask you specific question for qualitative data, three or more groups, then you can answer specific question, specific answer. Then you can answer a test called as Kruskal-Wallis test. So what is the use of Kruskal-Wallis test? That is for three or more groups, qualitative data. Otherwise, general answer, it is always a chi-square test for qualitative data. And for quantitative data, beta, you can answer paired t-test, unpaired t-test or ANOVA test. So सबसे पहले first thing that you have to see is how many groups are there, and then you have to see what type of data. So in this question, you have to find the test of significance. That's okay. To compare birth weights of 100 babies born to females who consumed high protein and females who consumed balanced diet. How many groups are there? There are two groups. Females who consumed high protein and females who consumed high micronutrient. Am I correct? So there were two groups of female. What is the type of data that we are talking, beta? We were to compare the birth weights. You were to compare the birth weights. So to compare you compare what? Compare birth weight. Birth weight is in kilograms or grams, whatever you want to say. It is a quantitative data. So quantitative data, two groups. What is the best answer? Quantitative data, two groups. What is the best answer? You would like to mark unpaired t-test or the independent sample t-test. And that is what you were supposed to do. Unpaired t-test or independent sample t-test. So you just have to see, the game was not about the test of significance. Game was to compare the birth weight in two groups. So chi-square is absolutely not the answer, because this is not about low birth weight, high birth weight or whatever. Nominal qualitative data nahi hai na. Birth weight is a quantitative data. So ANOVA is not the correct answer because it is not three groups. Paired t-test is not the correct answer because it is not for one group. Independent sample t-test is the correct answer, and that is the best answer you would like to mark. ठीक है बच्चे? चलो, let us go to the next MCQ. Height and weight of 200 children were assessed. The average weight was 27 kgs plus minus 3 kgs, and average height was 100 centimeters plus minus 8 centimeters. As per the data, there is more variation in. अब ये पंगा पड़ने वाला है. ये अगर आपको आता है बहुत अच्छी बात है. Try to answer this question. It's a difficult. It was asked in AIMS, beta. This is PYQ in AIMS. This is PYQ in AIMS exam. It is PYQ from INI set. Whenever you get a question like this, bache, where you are comparing two different things, you are comparing weight in kilograms and height in centimeters. Now you cannot compare directly. You have to find more variations. So to find the variations, we already did the formula. To find the variations, whenever the question will talk about this, you are calculating the difference in this and this. So there is more variation. You cannot directly say 8 is more than 3. No, that is incorrect to say. You have to see that there is more variations in what type of data. So to calculate the variation, beta, no, that is not the correct way, just directly to see the standard deviations. No. So what to calculate the variations, you can calculate something called as coefficient of variation. You already know the formula for coefficient of variation. It is given by the formula SD over mean into 100. So what you do is you calculate the coefficient of variation for A group and you calculate the coefficient of variation for B group. What is the A group? A group, let us say, is this. A group, let us say, is this. Okay. So what is the coefficient of variation? 3 over 27 into 100. So 3 ones are 3, 3 nines are 27. So 1 over 9. Okay. And 1 over 9 would be something like, how much will it be? 1 over 9. 1 over 9. So 9, 10. So 0.1. 1 something like this, 1 bar. Okay, 0.111 bar. And coefficient of variation in B group. What is the coefficient of variation in B group? That is 8 over 100. So this is pretty easy, 0.08. And yahi hoga na, 0.08. So definitely you can see that the coefficient of variation in A group, coefficient of variation in A group is more than the coefficient of variation in B group. So what is the answer? Coefficient of variation in A is more. A is more मतलब weight में ज़्यादा variation है compared to the height. So variation in weight is more than the height. Did you get how to solve this question? It's a pretty easy direct question, but if you can just understand this, that's all. That's all that is required. If you can just understand how it works. So it's not directly you see the, you don't directly see the standard deviation. You can calculate the coefficient of variation, which is given by the formula. You already know this, SD over mean into 100, right? So this is a PYQ from INI set exam. that you wanted to find the variations. So option A is correct answer, because the variation in weight, it is 0.1, whereas the variation in B, that is the height, it is 0.08. So A is the best answer. B is not the correct answer. Both have similar variation is not the correct answer. Not sufficient data is not the correct answer. Is it okay, guys? Let's go to the next MCQ. Which sampling method is used to find the immunization coverage under the National Immunization Program? Which sampling method is used to find the immunization coverage under the National Immunization Program? Absolutely correct answer. Absolutely correct answer, beta. Which sampling method is used to find the immunization coverage? It is to calculate the immunization coverage, we always use the cluster sampling. Cluster sampling, absolutely correct. Systematic sampling, where the nth individual is chosen, you follow a system. Stratified is when we divide population on a third variable, and random is just like random numbers or lottery method. It is the easy method and the best method. Random, easy method. Random sampling is the easiest and the best method. Stratified is divide the population on a third variable. Cluster sampling, it is for large population. The cluster should be homogeneous clusters, and the cluster is naturally occurring groups. You do not select clusters, you pick clusters. Okay, you do not select clusters. You do not select clusters, you just pick up the naturally occurring clusters. That is what is cluster sampling. So option D is the correct answer. Identify the image. A few MCQ based image based questions, and that's all. Just we are about to close this session for the day, and it's already 1 hour and few minutes. I think kitni der ho gayi hai? The timer must be there. 1 hour 15 minutes. Yeah. So what do you think is this skew? अच्छा जी, सबका सही आंसर है. इजी क्वेश्चन है ना, सबका सही आंसर है. एवरीबडी इज मार्किंग करेक्ट. पढ़ के बैठे हो सारे. वेरी नाइस. ये लेफ्ट स्क्यू है कि राइट स्क्यू है? पीक लेफ्ट को है, तो व्हाट डू यू थिंक, लेफ्ट स्क्यू है राइट को है? टेल इज ऑन द राइट. एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट साक्षी बेटा. वेरी नाइस बच्चे, वेरी नाइस. द टेल इज ऑन द राइट. सो ऑलवेज वॉच द टेल. ऑलवेज वॉच द टेल. सो टेल देखनी है, ऊपर का पहाड़ नहीं देखना, आपने उसकी पूंछ देखनी है. ऑलवेज लुक एट द टेल. वेरी गुड. So there are different types of skews, beta. We can have a negatively skewed, positively skewed. Positively skewed is also known as a right skew, and a negatively skew is also called as a left skew. In a left skew, beta, the mean is always towards the lowest side and the mode is towards the highest side. Mode is towards the highest side and mean is towards the lowest side. So mean will be lesser than the median, will be lesser than the mode. और यहाँ पे on the right skew, please note that mean is always on the highest side. Mean हमेशा highest side की तरफ होगा, फिर median आएगा and last में mode आएगा. So mean is always towards the highest side. So we can say that mean is always more than the median, will always be more than the mode. Mode जो है सबसे छोटा होगा. So which is maximum in the left skew? Maximum in the highest in the left skew is mode, whereas mean is on the highest side in the right skew. Okay, very good. So left skew हो गया, right skew हो गया, negative skew. Like which is the best answer? It is not the left skew. It is not the negative skew, right skew. What is Poisson distribution? What do you mean by Poisson distribution? But I just wanted to tell you about this Poisson distribution. Poisson distribution, it tells you that how many times an event is likely to occur during a specific time period. So let us say that how many patients you look in the OPD during a single day. Let us say in a single day, in a 24-hour period, or during 8-hour shift. During 8-hour shift, how many patients do you see? How many patients do you see? Let us say you saw 60 patients. So is it that 60, let us say 80 patients. Is it that 80 patients you saw in 8-hour shift? That means 10 patients per hour. Did you see something like this? Or there could be some hours where you did not see any patient, but you saw 30 patients in single hour. There can be something like this only also, na? So please note that you just know how many times the event will occur during a specific time period. You don't know exact how many times they occur. What is the interval between them? So the example, this could be number of SMS you receive per day. In total, in one day you receive 100 messages, but those 100, did you receive every hour, or they were equally spaced, or they could have been in bulks also, na? This type of distribution, it is called as Poisson distribution. So internet failure, server requests, traffic accidents per day, radioactive decays, number of claims filed per month, number of mutations per DNA strand, number of customer arrivals per hour or client arrivals per hour. This type of distribution, it is called as a Poisson distribution. Poisson distribution. So identify the image. This is not a Poisson distribution. This is actually a skew. What is this skew? This skew is a right skew. Iska batao, what do you think is this? Question. Try to answer this question. To investigate and understand the dietary habits among population, a sample was chosen and the dietary habits were asked in the people who were labor class workers, construction workers, car auto mechanics, office staff, people like these. This is an example of what type of sampling? Systematic sampling, multi-stage, cluster sampling, stratified sampling. Stratified, absolutely correct answer. Very nice, proud of you guys. This is a simple question about stratified sampling. Very good. Next is denominator in the negative predictive value is. What is the denominator in a negative predictive value? Negative predictive value, denominator is. All negatives. Absolutely correct. Very nice. You guys are pretty nice today. So I'm happy for you guys. जिस चीज़ से तुम ज़्यादा डरते थे, उस चीज़ को actually you have conquered, beta. You actually have conquered. Proud of you guys. Very good. So there are people with disease and people who are without disease. There are people who are tested positive and tested negative. Okay. So people who were disease and test is positive. What are these called as? Truly positive. If the test is negative and patient is healthy, what is this called as? This is called as truly negative. In case by chance the test is negative and the person was diseased, what is this called? This is called as falsely negative. And by chance if the test came positive in a healthy patient, what is this? Falsely positive. Okay. So whenever they ask you, 4 important things you have to remember. 4 things you have to remember. First is, what is sensitivity? Sensitivity is true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. Sensitivity is this over total this. This true positive divided by the total true positive plus false negative. Can I say this is true positive divided by D plus? Okay. On the same principle, you can also calculate what is specificity. Specificity is given by the formula true negatives divided by true negative plus false positive. Can I also say this is true negative divided by D minus? True negative divided by D minus. On the same principle, third thing that you have to remember is what is PPV, positive predictive value. It is given by the formula true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. That is true positive divided by total tested positive. On the same principle, you have to remember what is NPV as well, negative predictive value that is true negative divided by true negative plus false negative, that is true negative divided by tested negative. Okay, so if you understand these four things, I think you should be able to solve any type of numerical which comes in your NEET exam. This is a kind of a 2-star MCQ, frequently asked exam. False positive error rate and false negative error rate, Soumya, you can just leave it at least for now in your NEET exam, because these are generally asked in AIMS exam, or not generally asked, they are rarely asked in any exam. If at all some exam will ask you, it will be AIMS exam. So right now what your problem is about the NEET exam. So these are pretty simple to calculate. Sir, it is very hard to calculate. Mudgil, ऐसा नहीं है. If you just read the statement, they will be very very simple. You can remember it this way, beta. ऐसा याद कर लो ना. It's very simple. You know, this is the box. What is this over this? What is this over this? What do you think? Then this over this. What do you think? What is this over this? What do you think? And what is this over this? What do you think? क्या बोलते हो? 1 2 3 4 फटाफट से बोल दो. It is super duper easy. What do you think is 1? What do you think is 1? What do you think is 1? 1 is sensitivity. What is 2? 2 is specificity. What is 3? What is 3? 3 is positive predictive value. What is 4? 4 is negative predictive value. Very nice. So this is pretty simple and pretty easy. इसके अलावा some students are saying कि वो they get confused about factors affecting PPV, NPV, specificity, sensitivity. इसको रट लो बेटा. Just remember this 2 points. रट लो इसको, कॉपी में कहीं लिख लो. Please note that high false positive. High false positive. It is due to. High false positive. It is due to. It is because of low specificity. It is because of low prevalence. And it is because of high sensitivity. These are 3 important things which you have to remember in high false positivity. These are 3 important things which you have to remember in terms of high false positivity. Second important MCQ is PPV is affected by. PPV is affected by. One answer, it is affected by prevalence. It is also affected by sensitivity. It is also affected by specificity. अगर सवाल आए, it is most affected by. It is most affected by prevalence. But यही याद रखना. These are the only things you have to remember for your exam. This is very very important, frequently asked in your exam. So just remember, PPV is most affected by prevalence. जो ने बिल्कुल ठीक बोला, P is P. P is P. Okay, so please remember, positive predictive value is affected by prevalence, most affected by prevalence. Also, sometimes examiner may ask you that if you combine the different tests. Also, sometimes examiner may ask you that if you combine different tests, if you combine the test, beta, you can combine the test in series or you can combine the test in parallel. If you combine the test in parallel, please remember that sensitivity will increase, specificity will decrease, and the positive predictive value will also decrease. Okay. On the other hand, if you combine the test in series beta, specificity will increase, the PPV will also increase, and the sensitivity will decrease. The specificity will increase, the PPV will increase, and sensitivity will decrease in series. Whereas in parallel, the sensitivity will increase, the specificity and PPV will decrease. बिल्कुल ठीक है. P and P decrease सुरभि को याद है ये mnemonic, and that is what we teach in the offline classes as well. अगर आपको याद है बहुत अच्छी बात है, नहीं याद तो ये रट लो. These are the only 3 things you have to remember. बस यही, इससे ऊपर कुछ MCQ एग्जाम में नहीं आता, इससे ऊपर नहीं आएगा. Okay, so please note that these are what are asked. Just last MCQ, I think 2 more questions, this and another one. करो भाई फटाफट से. So what is the denominator in negative predictive value? Denominator in the negative predictive value, it is 2 negatives plus false negative. That is the correct answer. So refer to the image attached. This shows what? Candle with standard deviation, candle image with right skew, box whisker with negative skew, box and whisker with positive skew. What do you think? Candle with standard deviation, with right skew, with negative skew, with positive skew. See, yeah, very nice, very nice. So you can see over here, this is a box and whisker plot. Absolutely correct. This is a box and whisker plot. So just few points, 4 points about box and whisker, 4 points about box and whisker plot. Box and whisker plot uses, it is based on quartiles. It is based on quartiles. Quartiles are what? They are measures of location. They are measure of location of the values. Where will you find them, the values? Next is box and whisker plot mein you see always the box and whisker, that is each part will have 25% values in each whisker, and the box will contain 50% values in box. The size of the box is called as interquartile range. That is the size of the box. Size of box, that is, if you have this as the box and whisker beta, let us say this is the Q1, center is, median is Q2, and then you have is Q3. So IQR, interquartile range, that is Q3 minus Q1, that is what we call as the interquartile range. That is the size of the box. Okay. Chalo, very nice, very nice. This is what is the box and whisker plot with a negative skew. Why do you say negative? Because you see that more values are towards the higher side, and yeah. Last question for the day to close off the topic. If a researcher takes point B instead of point A as a normal cutoff, then which of the following statement is correct? क्या बोलते हो? If a researcher takes point A, takes point B instead of point A, point B instead of point A as a normal cutoff, what is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? That if the researcher takes point B instead of point A, some are saying A, B, C, both sensitivity, specificity, both will increase or decrease. What do you think? Okay. So beta, if I just copy this and take this to the new page. So this is the diagram that you have, And this is what we have is, this is the old cutoff beta. This is the old cutoff. And this one is the new cutoff. Okay, B is the new cutoff. If I take the old cutoff, if I consider the old cutoff only, what are these people? What are these people? This red color thing is the disease people. So because of my cutoff, below this are the healthy people. So these are actually the falsely negative. They were actually diseased, but my cutoff says that they are healthy. Okay. And who are these people on the other hand? Who are these people? The green shaded areas. These were actually healthy people, and because my cutoff was there, and they are labeled as disease, but in reality they are not disease. So what is this? These are the falsely positive people. Am I correct? Okay, very simple. So now with this new cutoff, can I say that with the new cutoff, the false negative will be only these many now? False negative is lesser with the new cutoff, is lesser than the false negative with the old cutoff. Am I correct on this? Am I correct on this statement that the false negative in the new cutoff is lesser than the false negative in the old cutoff? So if the false negative has new cutoff is less, that means the false negative is less. And if in the new cutoff, can I say that the false positive in the new cutoff is more than the false positive in the old cutoff? Can I say like this? That means what I want to say is that with the new cutoff, that means what I want to say is that with the new cutoff, beta, the false negative is lesser and the false positive is higher. Am I correct? So that means the sensitivity, is higher and the specificity is lesser with the new cutoff. So at the junction B, it will be with more sensitivity and low specificity. Am I correct? So if the question says higher false negative, that is wrong answer. It is low false negative. The sensitivity will decrease, that is also false. The specificity will decrease, that is true. Both will decrease is wrong answer. So what do you think is the correct answer? What do you think is the correct answer? Option C is the best answer. Specificity will decrease. These are kind of MCQs where you need to do a lot of practice, and these may become confusing sometimes, and you just have to see that what is the question which is asking. If you look at the way that you solve this, you always will have to look at the false negative and false positive. Never look at the peak, always look at false negative and false positive. बस यही देखना है एग्जाम में, बस आपको यही देखना है, फॉल्स नेगेटिव एंड फॉल्स पॉजिटिव. और इतना भी नहीं है, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दिस इज अ 5 स्टार MCQ, 10 स्टार MCQ. ये 1 स्टार 0.5 स्टार MCQ है. इफ़ यू नो दिस, वेरी नाइस. नहीं आता तो काम तो चलेगा. Okay, so with the new investigation, we can just say that the false negative will be lower, and therefore there is high sensitivity and low specificity. Likert scale is an example of. So that's all for the questions, beta. That's all for the questions. All your doubts, you're very welcome to ask. Any doubts if you have, you're very welcome to ask. Any doubts if you have, please ask them. I'll be happy to answer your doubts. So this is the link for the Telegram group. Any doubts, you're very welcome to put it on the Telegram group. Otherwise, you can follow us on Marolinks group on Facebook, or you can simply visit our website psmsimplified.com for all the updates. You can also follow the Instagram account for all the updates and recent things. And that's all. All your doubts, you're very welcome to ask now. So let me take your doubts one by one for now. Sir, Likert scale. Likert scale is agree or disagree continuum. It is a type of ordinal scale. It is a type of ordinal scale. मुदगिल, यस सर प्लीज रीड। क्या है तुम्हारा डाउट यार? सर एक्टॉपिक प्रेगनेंसी में जो सीक्वेंस है कॉन्ट्रा फेलियर का था, टोटल से मिरेना आईयूसीडी, इसमें कोई चेंज है? इंक्रीज चांस ऑफ एक्टॉपिक, प्लीज बता दो सर। एक्टॉपिक प्रेगनेंसी, tubal sterilization and then Mirena is wrong answer. Mirena is not related to ectopic pregnancy beta. Mirena is not related to ectopic pregnancy. ऐसा कोई लिस्ट नहीं बना हुआ कि ectopic pregnancy किससे ज़्यादा होता है. But please note ectopic pregnancy. ऐसा there is no list. Don't try to overthink on this. Ectopic pregnancy maximum happens with third generation progestasert. प्रोजेस्टासर्ट थर्ड जनरेशन आईयूसीडी के साथ मैक्सिमम रिस्क देखा जाता है, राइट? सो एक्टॉपिक प्रेगनेंसी सिर्फ इसी का ही सवाल आता है. इट इज़ वेरी लो विद ट्यूबल प्रेगनेंसी, बट अगर ट्यूबल प्रेगनेंसी पहले तो है कि ट्यूबल प्रेगनेंसी फेल होगी, विच इज़ वेरी वेरी लो चांस फेल होगी, उसके बाद कहीं एक्टॉपिक की बात आती है. सो डोंट थिंक अबाउट देर इज़ अ लिस्ट लाइक दिस. सो एक्टॉपिक प्रेगनेंसी में देर इज़ ओनली वन एमसीक्यू, प्रोजेस्टासर्ट थर्ड जनरेशन. Mirena is a very safe contraceptive. Mirena, it is a very safe contraceptive. It has a very low failure rate. 0.03 के करीब इसका फेलियर रेट होता है. इट हैज़ द लोएस्ट फेलियर रेट. तो इसमें प्रेगनेंसी नहीं होगी, एक्टॉपिक तो बहुत बाद की बात है, राइट? Sir attended FMG offline class in Narai, now preparing PG with same notes. Is it enough with QRP? I don't think it is enough, beta. थोड़ा सा आपको QBank and main videos also you need to watch. Even tough, many answers were wrong, but learnt a lot. Thank you very much. So Harsh, very nice. Thank you so much. And feeling down but feeling better. Hey, शाबाश. ये हुई ना बात होला बल्ला. नाम ही इतना प्यारा है यार, होला बोला. कहाँ से फीलिंग डाउन है तुम लोग? वेरी नाइस. प्लीज़ डू न्यू सेशन. न्यू सेशन नया ही तो था. नीलू विद वन क्वेश्चन. बताओ नीलू, अपना क्वेश्चन पूछो. सिंबल्स यूज इन फॉरेस्ट प्लॉट. फॉरेस्ट प्लॉट बेटा कुछ नहीं होता. फॉरेस्ट प्लॉट में वी विल टेक डिफरेंट रिसर्चेस विल बी देयर, एंड रिसर्च 1 ने ये बोला, रिसर्च 2 में ये बोला, and research 3 is, let us say, this. So different researchers will present their data differently. Okay, let us say this is research 4. So what is the mean of all the researchers? This is the median. Just now I told you na, box and whisker ka center point will be the median. So what is the median of the medians? Can I say that this is the median of the medians? This median of the medians, it is represented by a rhombus. So median of the medians, this is the rhombus or the diamond shape, diamond or the rhombus shape, and this is, you have to find out, this is going to tell you the final effect. This is what is a forest plot. Sir, will there be a next session? I may plan for the next session on next Wednesdays. Wednesdays is the only date which I think I can come. So yeah, Soumya, this is used in evidence-based medicine. But next session की next time देखेंगे Wednesday के लिए. Next time Wednesday we might be taking up nutrition. Next week what I plan to do is nutrition. Wednesdays को मिलेंगे बेटा. Nutrition, environment plus health indicators, concept of health and disease and health management. Some miscellaneous topics, mixed bag questions will be there. So WWMM, होला बोला ने याद कर लिया. Wednesday is with Mukhmohit. So yeah. WWMM. ठीक है जी. तो चलो ये फिर से मैं दिखा दूं कि बार बार मेरे को PDF के लिए नहीं तंग करना. PDF इसकी नहीं दे सकता मैं. एंड ये बार बार नहीं पूछना कि सर सिर्फ यही वाली वीडियो कर लें, इनफ है. ये वाली वीडियो इज़ जस्ट अ वेरी क्विक रिव्यू ऑफ व्हाट यू आर सपोज टू नो. इट इज़ नॉट द टोटल कंटेंट. बट इफ़ यू नो दिस पॉइंट्स इट इज़ वेरी बेनिफिशियल. अब अगर टाइम ही नहीं है तो मरता क्या ना करता, फिर यही आपका सहारा है बेटा. एंड कैन आई वॉच दिस वीडियो लेटर? बिल्कुल, आपकी अपनी आंखें हैं, आपका अपना मोबाइल है, आपका अपना इंटरनेट है, आप जब मर्जी देखो. दीज वीडियोज विल बी अवेलेबल टिल द नीट एग्जाम दिस समर. सो ठीक है जी, चलो शाबाश, वेरी नाइस, जीतेंगे. एंड चलो मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीक एंड प्रॉब्ली विल टेक अप डिफरेंट topics and different session, and next time nutrition, environment and all these things. Okay, so thank you so much. Usually 1.5 hour ka session is fair enough, and let's hope ke my lectures are beneficial and kahin na kahin ye use mein aayenge and aapke concepts hum badha paएं. So all the very best and keep on studying. Take care guys. Thank you so much.